Hi, you guys. I'm Shannon. I am the owner and founder of Savage Wellness. I am a weight management and lifestyle transformation coach for busy moms. And I have a virtual gym. It's really a mama hub of sorts. And in there, I am providing you guys with a series of workshops from some of my favorite wellness professionals that can really help you moms find some awesome resources and habits and techniques to utilize for your busy mom life to help you manage prioritizing yourselves, prioritizing your health, your happiness, your sanity, and really help you create a lifestyle that feels awesome. So check it out on my website at www.besavagewell.com/virtual-gym. Or just go to besavagewell.com and there's a little drop down menu. So you can sign up there. From there, you'll get announcements with these webinars and you get a workout of the day and all sorts of great resources that you can utilize to help you build your healthy lifestyle. I've also got coaching packages for you and ebooks and courses that you can sign up for, all designed to help you navigate your life, regain control, and find a way to find a great balance that feels really good. So check it out, and here's the workshop.
Hi. So this is Kelly. Kelly and I are in a business group together, and we're all moms in business, and it's a really cool group. And I can't remember how we connected, but she said something about time management. I was like, oh man, that's exactly what I talk about with my clients, and I think like having an expert really come in would be huge. So she's here to
Awesome.
talk to you guys about time management. She is a time management specialist. I'll just let you take it from here, Kelly.
Awesome. Well, hello, ladies. I'm actually going to share my desktop because I put together some slides. Okay. And basically what I do is I help busy women overwhelmed to having clarity on the time and tasks that it requires to do all our roles. That's basically how I do it. And I'll walk you through like kind of my overarching big concepts, and then we'll work through more of a more of like a practical exercise to get you guys started. Obviously, the big elephant in this room is COVID, and our time is totally different today than it did a few weeks ago. But these principles will apply for today, and then you'll just have to kind of reapply them in a whole new way when life hopefully soon goes back to normal. So let me just quickly go through here. Basically, talk through the main strategies. I'm hoping to get through this in 10 to 15 minutes. And then we will do an extra to get you started 10 to 15 minutes. As I said, life looks different now. So the principles remain the same, but the application will look different now versus later, since all our schedules are typically rearranged to some extent. So this is a conversation. I will try to be responsive to any comments, either that you make out loud or in the chat. But I do want to, if I don't see them, it's probably because I'm less familiar with this technology, but I am happy to answer any questions you may have. So if I don't see them right away, just know that I'm happy to answer them, and we'll stick around for Q&A at the end of this. Just a quick word about who I am so you know what's going on. Current time management strategist. I was a patent litigator for about 6 years in Boston and a little bit in California. I am not naturally organized. So the big thing in that is, as an attorney, a huge part of your responsibilities, maybe some of you are attorneys, is to hit deadlines. Like something like 30% of malpractices are missed deadlines, which is huge. And so I'm not naturally organized, so I had to figure out systems to become naturally organized. And sorry, the slides are being weird, so I'm just going to go to this view. I am a mom and an entrepreneur. So I have a 2-year-old daughter, so a bit younger than it sounds like you guys are, but which in some ways makes it a little weirder to be home right now with my daughter, because I like have to be with her anytime she's awake. And my husband is an ER doctor, actually. So right now I am very much solo parenting. So I understand the crunch if any of you guys are dealing with a big change because of this pandemic going on right now. But even in normal times, I totally get having a crazy schedule, because like if your partner has a crazy schedule and your schedule relies on them, I completely empathize with that. I have worked with many different people of different lifestyles, careers, and family structures. So just know that my system is very broadly speaking, like it applies the same to everybody, but it's so you can tailor it to your own dial so much, which is why I love it. I think it's flexible. It works for a lot of different people. It changes with our seasons of life as our seasons of life change. So that's why I'm a huge proponent of it. And I have been featured in some publications. The one I'm most proud of is Fast Company. It's about a weekly planning session. We're not going to touch on that to the same degree as we would just based on time. So if you are interested, feel free to like Google that Fast Company Kelly Nolan article, and it will walk you through like my weekly planning session. Okay, so the big thing is I want you to imagine going to bed feeling accomplished, proud of what you got done today, and confident for what's on your plate for tomorrow, even in this weird, crazy world that we're in right now. I do think it is possible. We just have to use a system to get there. I want you to imagine be able to calmly focus on the activity before you, knowing you have a game plan to get everything done. These are the big things I want. I want to help bring calm and clarity to your life and the new ability to focus. And the main way we do this is by making time visual in a trusted, simple system that will help you build a game plan for how you're going to get everything done. To get there, we're going to go over 3 principles today. And again, I'm going to try and do this fast so that we can then get into starting to, but I just think it helps to kind of see the structure and then know where we're going. So the big principle that I like love is let's bring all time-related activities together in one place, including all your tasks. And by tasks, I mean to-do lists, activities like getting the kids ready, all that kind of stuff. Let's bring it all together in one place. We're also going to prevent overwhelm in doing that because, it'll become more clear, but I'm going to show you a pretty cool magical trick. And then we're going to protect time for what is important to you, so you are not getting just like the dregs of what's ever left over in your schedule. All right, so principle number 1, we're bringing all our time-related activities together in one place, including tasks. The big thing I believe is everything comes back to time. Everything you want to do in your life, big goals, small goals, little things you have to do with kids, everything comes back to time. So even if you're like, email is my biggest pain point, it's a time issue. It's the amount of time it takes. So we need to protect time for email in addition to, obviously trying to get off as many email lists as possible. But so everything comes back to time. And you also need one place to look at to know what to do next. I'm a huge believer in that. I think as busy women, busy moms, if you have to look at your calendar and then like a family big command center with a calendar and then, your kids' activities worksheets and like a to-do list or maybe 15 and post-it notes around the house, it's just too much. You don't have time to do that. We need to have one place where we house all that information. So obviously, you bring those 2 principles together, all time-related activity together in one place designed to manage time, and that is your calendar. And again, I'm going to show you how to do this in a not overwhelming way. So I just want to quickly talk about tasks because most people are like, all right, I follow you. That makes sense. And then I talk about putting your to-do list in your calendar and throwing out the to-do list and people stop nodding. So I just want to touch on that. Let me back up. I used to have my to-do list on to-do lists, probably multiple to-do lists. I had 15 post-it notes. I just want to check in because I can't see you guys, so I want to make sure like everyone's doing okay. Okay, I still can't see you. I'm going to quickly stop sharing. Everybody doing okay? Thumbs up if you're good. All right, cool. I just want to make sure I can't see you as I'm talking, so I want to make sure you're not like, yo, you're losing me. Okay, we're going to go back. Okay. I just want to talk about tasks. if you have yours, as I just said, on multiple to-do lists, sticky notes everywhere, in your head is a big one. If you're like trying to keep track of all the things that you have going on in your head, there are certain pitfalls with those systems that you might think mean you're bad at time management, that you're not naturally organized, that hope for you. And I want to just help show you that it's partly your system. It's not you, and that you do not need to be naturally organized to get where you want to go. So when your tasks are scattered in the ways we just talked about, maybe you're using a phone app, maybe you're using email as a to-do list, maybe you're using your calendar, all those things, you don't have a clear idea of everything that's on your plate because everything that's on your plate is in different places. And therefore, you really don't have a great idea if you can get it all done. And that uncertainty causes a lot of stress. It's not even actually the work itself. It's like the uncertainty of knowing what is all the stuff on my plate and how will I ever get it all done? And also, is it okay? Like, will I get it all done if I relax right now? Feelings are partly about the system you're using. They are not reflecting, they're not a reflection on whether you are good at the time management or not. There's also a lot of mental gymnastics comes to to-do lists because everything on a to-do list looks the same. It takes like a single line, but something could take 5 minutes, something could take 2 hours, something could require your best energy, like you need to be fresh and thinking straight, and other things you can do totally like at the end of the day when you're not, it doesn't really matter. And then also some things require like offices to be open so you can make a call, and other things, again, you could do on a Sunday night when nothing's open and it's fine, or right now when nothing's open. So we need to be clear on when are we supposed to do things, what things should be done in the best energy, what's going to take a lot of time, and to-do lists just don't help us get there. And then we also experience what I call to-do defeat. Now, I think I so often when I used to-do lists as an attorney would like have this awesome day. I would get this huge project done and feel so good, and then I'd go to cross it off my to-do list, and all I would see are the other like 38 things I did not get done. And I just would immediately like have my like balloon of pride popped. And I feel like that is called to-do list defeat because you would never actually in a realistic world get all those done. But because we have them just all in this long list that would never actually get done in a day, you still feel the pressure to do it. And so you feel defeated by your to-do list every day. So if any of that resonates with you, if you're like nodding along, I just wanted to let you know there is another way to do this. There is another way to bring the system together. And you should not feel bad if you did not know how to do it because no one ever taught us how to do this stuff, which is why I love helping women find the clarity in this way. So we are going to put all those time-related things that we were just talking about, including into our calendar. And I just want to give you an idea of what this can look like. Don't worry about the colors for now. Look at this. You will see, just wait for one. That. This has literally everything that's going on in my life in one place. One moment. Just want to make sure that I hit all the important points here. Okay. Now, basically all the activities in my day are represented by blocks of time here. Don't worry about the colors for now, but just see that this includes my meals, it includes my workout, it includes getting my child out the door, it includes driving, tasks, meetings, commute, walking my dog, everything. Now, obviously, this was pre-COVID. This looks a little different now. The principle still applies. Let me just address them first because I want to clear these objections from your mind and really take in the benefits. First objection is, that looks busy. I don't like this. Okay, I complete this and I hear this a lot from clients, but here's the thing. This is already how you're spending your time. So you might as well make it visual so that you can see and play with it based on how you want your day to run. Prepare yourself for the day, see where the conflicts are going to come up ahead of time so you can modify and just make your life move all around a lot more smooth. Objection 2 is that looks rigid. It really, really doesn't have to be. I just want to be clear. Just as you would like move your schedule around in your head when things come up, just like you have to keep track of it in your head. I move these blocks of time around all the time in my day. What's nice about Google Calendar, which is the platform I really advocate, is you can have these things repeat. So you're not like planning your day starting from scratch every day, but you just drag and drop them around, and it's awesome. So I move things around all the time, but by having it visual, I get a real idea of where my time is going, and I can see where conflicts are coming up ahead of time so that I know to move things around. And I know, like, okay, at 9 a.m., I'll call here, the doctor's office, or I'll move my workout to here to accommodate that, whatever, just an example. But you can see that this is giving me a more realistic idea of what my day looks like, but it doesn't have to be as rigid as it might look at first glance. Okay, so let's talk about the bits. First of all, we get realistic about what we can get done in a day. Let me just, there we go. When you have this idea, you really get a real sense of what you can get done in a day, so you plan appropriately. And obviously, it's sometimes hard to estimate how long things are going. You'll learn as you do it more and more. You'll see, you'll just make modifications, but you can get really realistic about what you're going to get done in a day, and you won't have that to-do list defeat we were talking about. Instead, these slides, sorry guys. Instead, we go to bed feeling accomplished. Because you had a realistic game plan that you can actually follow through on, you go to bed feeling good versus that to-do list defeat. We also can create a game plan to get everything done over time. So take this day view and multiply it over months, whatever. You can out to-dos or that you would normally put on a to-do list in a month, because you're there's no way I can do this right now, so I can put it out a month. And by creating a game plan to get it all done over time, we can focus on what's in front of us in the moment. So for example, let's say at 9 a.m., I'm drafting content for this week for my business, or, working on a brief, or writing notes for my patients, whatever you do. And I don't need to worry about doing my financial review right now because I have a protected time for that. That's just even within a day. Sometimes you can just extrapolate that beyond, I can do that. I know I'm going to do that next week. I know I'm going to do that. I have protected time for that coming up. And that's a real game changer because it lets you feel that calm and also focus on what's before you. And we can trust the white space and relax. Now, obviously, this is a snapshot of a day. There's not a lot of white space, but I think you'll be surprised at how much white space you do have when you plot out all of your activities. And that white space, it actually means you don't have to go look at, 5 other to-do lists or think through your head what else do I have to do, because everything is already in this system. And so white space is actual downtime, which is a huge game changer. I find a lot of clients just almost can't enjoy their downtime because they're not sure if work about not working. And this will help you see when you really time to just really relax and give into it. Okay. As I was saying, sometimes people are yeah, this is kind of overwhelming. If I don't think it's rigid, even it's just there's so much in my calendar. How do I manage it in a manageable way without overwhelming myself when I look at my calendar? Well, this is where Google Calendar, I really recommend checking it out. They have a feature called sub. I just want to show you. I'm not going to go into a tech do it, but I just want to show you how you can use it. It's different than coloring. So this is how many of us are using our calendars right now. You should put a lot of the meetings, kind of things, other people involved. There is a ton of white space, a lot of white space that we have to then do those mental gymnastics and figure out how to get everything done in that space. You're going to be asleep for part of it. You got to get your kids up. You have to shower. You need to work out. You have to meal plan. All these kind of things. And so looking at this calendar doesn't really help you understand truly what your day looks like. This is what your calendar could look like with all your tasks in it. Now, what's really cool though is if I just want to go back to seeing what my real hard are to be, where do I need to be out of the house? I can click off task sub-calendars. For me, green is personal tasks. I can click off those task calendars and be back to this view. So I just can filter what I see in my calendar so well now and just get a better sense of where my time's going, but also get all those activities away when I really want to understand, like, what does today look like? Where do I need to be? Again, I can bring these tasks back in, and then this can get really cool. It's going to look overwhelming for a second, but just bear with me. This is how I operate on a day-to-day basis, but I can bring my husband's and my daughter's schedule into this. This is super useful when you're planning. Again, I mentioned I really advocate a weekly session, mainly to help you not like avoid having to plan all the time. But when I'm planning, you can see how helpful to have, like, my husband works weird hours. I have his schedule in here. I have access to his schedule, so I can put in, you can see on Sunday, like, hey, you're in charge of our dot from here to here, so I can get some other stuff done. I can put that in his schedule. Obviously I talked about it. I'm not just like really dictating our life, but it's helpful to have it written down so we're all on the same page. But again, when I after I'm done planning, like, I don't want to live with this every day in my life, so I can click it back off and be here. And again, I can go back to my events calendar. I just want to introduce you to that option in Google Calendar. If you're not using it already, it's a game changer, because you can load up your calendar with so much information, but then filter what you see at different times to make it very manageable for you. But everything is in that one place. So you're looking at 15 different places to know all this same information when you want it, but you also don't have to see it all the time, if that makes sense. And the last thing I just want to say is really start using your calendar to protect time for what's important to you. Plot in, during your weekly planning session, when you're looking at the next 2 weeks ahead, when you just want to relax with your husband or partner and have a wine and watch TV, or plot in when you want to go on a hike. Start protecting time proactively for things that are important to you, so that you're not just like trying to squeeze that stuff in the leftovers. Two, by having a visual in your calendar of how you want to use that time, when new invitations roll in, you have a visual idea of that I want to do with that time, and that new invitation would switch that up. And I'm not saying you have to say no. Like, obviously you can change your plans however you want, but you're making a more informed decision of where you're going, and it allows you to be more intentional. Also, just on a front, if you start time blocking your work tasks in this, you also get a much better sense of how busy you are. It helps when a new project or opportunity comes in. You can drag and drop blocks of time around, but you have a real sense of how full you are, how much your bandwidth is actually at, which is critical for just not overcommitting yourself to things. I want you to start thinking of your calendar as your friend. I think a lot of us think of our calendar as like running off and being this like mean boss who likes to eat our vegetables. And I want you to start using your calendar to design the life you want and then help you live it out. So, use it to protect time for what's important to you and block time out proactively. Okay, so that kind of wraps up. I'm going to go back to so where I can see your smiling faces. That gives you an overview of my system, high level. Are there any questions? Oh, let me look. I see some chats. Hold on one second. Okay, cool. All right. So now I can see you and I can see the chat. We dig into like the application of this stuff. Reactions. Do you like it? Are you like, no, this does not make sense to me? I'm totally, either way, I'm happy to serve any. Feeling good? Thumbs up?
I love it. This is totally me. I'm obsessed with calendars. I just had a note about the different coloring, so I'm definitely going to add this into what I already do, putting everything on there.
Awesome. So what's real about sub-calendars too is that clicking on and off function is super handy, but you can also share only specific sub-specific people. So for example, I share, like with my husband, I share our daughter's schedule and I share our joint calendar. We have a joint calendar so that, for like date nights or weddings that we're invited to or those vacations we're going on, that's in there. We share those. But I don't share like my work tasks and those super useful way to share certain things with certain people. You can share different levels of information. So if you're using it with like a VA, for example, you could share your work events with your VA with total, or your assistant or whoever, with total the ability to see everything and make modifications. But you could also share your like personal events with your assistant, but only at the level where they see free or busy, different sub calendars, if that makes sense. So know that sub calendars are really, really amazing. They're really handy in the coordinate communication with people and make sure we're all on the same page. But you can also divvy, like, you're not sharing your whole calendar with someone, giving them full details if you wanted. All right. Any questions or comments before we dive into the more practical? And I'll just give you an overview. I know some of you might have to jump off. I know your calls are typically half an hour. I just wanted to start you. I think it's funny. I'm actually a huge paper junkie, even though I love Google Calendar. I just think the technology behind Google Calendar is amazing. And like, I really need my phone to tell me what to do when, and a paper calendar just doesn't do that. So even though I'm a huge proponent of Google Calendar, it's free, it's incredibly useful. There's a real benefit to sitting down with pen and paper, especially in the beginning of this, and like just looking at your schedule, especially in a time like this. I don't know what your situations are, but if we just focus on like what your schedule is right now in this period of time, my guess is a lot of these look the same because there's not much else going on. So you might just, what I would recommend doing is, do you guys all have the worksheet or available to you? You can do is, I would really start with the life, because especially in this context, our personal schedule, our commitments to our kids, think that really our availability to get our work done. So what I would recommend doing is take that grid chart. It's just a grid chart. If you don't have it, it's literally just like the hours of the day and the days of the week. So if you don't have it, you could just like make one quickly on a piece of paper. What I would recommend doing is start by blocking out, for right now, your sleep, really. Actually, first, just gray out your sleep and get clear on typically when are you awake. So all the white blocks are awake time. So you're not doing the mental math of like, yeah, but I'm usually asleep by then. And then block out your like typical morning stuff. So when you wake up, if you get going right away, like into working out, perhaps, or if you're just more of like, I make my coffee, I eat my breakfast, I have a chill morning, I read the paper, all those things, I would just block out the time for that, and feel free to divide up those boxes if it's like half an hour. The next big thing would be to block out when your kids wake up. So you get clear on when your kids are up. And then let's bookend the other one is, when do your kids go to sleep? And I kind of think of like, this world is different right now. So my life is very different because I'm very much solo parenting, because my husband, I forgot if I said, but yeah, my husband's an ER doctor. He's like gone right now. So I'm very much solo parenting. So basically, like, any hours my daughter's awake, I know I can't work. So I basically like block those off as kid time right now, in the morning and the afternoon. So for me, I'm just walking you through my thought process. I work between when I wake up and my daughter wakes up. I work during nap times right now. And then I work after she goes to bed. But also those free windows are when I shower, when I work out, when I cook, when I need a break and just am catching up with people. All of those things I'm plotting out in my calendar right now so that I am clear on where my time is going and what time I actually have available for work. One thing I would recommend is, if you have a partner at home right now who's able to help with childcare, get very clear with them on when they're in charge of the kids and when you are. If you haven't already, maybe you've done this, but feel like it's in our calendar. Like when my husband is home, it's like Matt is in charge of Harper during these hours and it's in the calendar. But what's cool about that is not only are we on the same page then, but I then layer over my work tasks on top of that to know, okay, when I sit down, I can go then. I'm not looking at like my 5 projects and being like, what should I work on today? I have like a game plan so I can make the most of my very limited time right now. But what I want to bring it back to is even in normal times, these concepts all apply in the same way. The great thing with Shannon's group too is really start thinking about what are the big things you want to get out of Shannon's group and how are you going to make time to implement what she's teaching you. So I would kind of, from what I can tell, break it into 2 categories, is the working out and then the meal prep and enjoyment and like just getting, especially right now, eating healthy to stay healthy. But for both of those, workouts are a little more straightforward, but I would block in my schedule very clearly when I'm going to work out. And if you can, be specific on what you're going to do. I find that's really helpful. So if you're going to do like something on her virtual gym or on her YouTube channel, like really spell that out in your calendar so that when it gets time to workout time, you like know what you're doing and you have a game plan. When it comes to food, what's interesting about food is if you really think about it, food, it kind of is broken up into 4 stages. It's like picking recipes, grocery shopping, or if you want, Instacarting, although in this time, pick what you want. And then also the prep. So those are the 3 big time consuming ones. And then the 4th is the enjoyment, which is the best part. So for what I recommend doing, and I think this still applies right now, is on a repeating basis in my calendar, I have meal plan in the sense of picking out my recipes. And I know Shannon has like a recipe guide that you guys can use. And so that might help streamline and make that easy for you. But in addition, if you're supplementing, like figuring out what your recipes are, I just block like half an hour every Thursday night to do that. And then as I said, I'm a big Instacart user, so I'll put in my order for Instacart to be delivered on Friday or Saturday, depending on what my schedule is. Again, right now, wait times are different. So, but I think it's better to plan for the long term than just give you like tips for right now.
Yeah, I have a couple actually options for that. So I have a meal plan, which comes with a grocery list, which is great. So then you can just have it all there. And then I also have a subscription to an app called Ends and Stems, which you guys get a discount for too. And that she also gives you a grocery list every week and recipes for the week. That's just dinner recipes, and I think my meal plan is more for like a weight loss for an individual person, but breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So those are both good resources to have.
That's awesome.
And then also just like planning, like you said, just going on my Pinterest page or things like that, and just take 30 minutes, you can plan it out relatively easily. So
yeah, that's awesome. It's such a great resource to give people, because one, it's helpful, but also it just streamlines time. So that's awesome. So I would, as I said, typically Thursday afternoons or evenings, I meal plan for the week, just like what are we eating? What do I need? Get the grocery list together, put the Instacart order in, or at least have the list ready to go. If you're grocery shopping, block time for that on a repeating basis. And again, I recommend just repeat it. Like, let's say you go Saturday mornings, typically just repeat it every Saturday morning, so that it's in your calendar every single Saturday, and then just drag and drop it around as your schedule changes each week. But that way it's a visual reminder for you that's already set in every single week, that even if you move it by a day or two or a couple hours, it's a reminder that you have to do it. And then I would also block meal prep time depending on how you do that. So if you're a big like Sunday meal prepper, great, block that again on a repeating basis. You can always drag and drop it around. Or if you do it more like every day, that dinner takes about an hour to prep, then just do that. But and put all meals in. I think some people get a little overwhelmed immediately by it, but it's so helpful to put your breakfast in, put your lunch in, put your dinner in, and definitely the prep there.
And your snacks too.
Yeah, and snacks. That's a great idea
Yeah,
because
because we do like a lot of like you have to have your mid morning, mid afternoon snacks just to keep you on track, especially in the beginning
awesome.
phase when we're balancing the hormones. Those are actually really
Awesome.
important. So scheduling those in, and then we talk about what those snacks are, so you can even write in snack pack one, snack pack two. So I like that. Be very specific. Put it into your day.
I love that. And why that's also so helpful is one, you get the reminder to do it, which is great. But also, as your schedules shift, you get the reminder of like, oh, I usually eat that snack at, I'm making it up 2, but I have a meeting starting at 2, so I'm going to do it at 1:30. Things like that. It sounds silly, but it's so useful when you're like actually trying to live out your life. It just takes the day-to-day decisions out of your actual like living, which is wonderful. Um, so that's a big one. I think for that worksheet, what I would do in this scenario that we're living in is do those morning activities, do those evening activities, get clear on who's in charge of the kids when and when you have time to yourself, and then plot in when are you going to do your workouts, when are you going to do your work stuff, when are you going to relax and enjoy and take a beat, and when are you like just what are you going to do to pour yourself and fill yourself back up in this time, and also do all the meal planning because especially in this time when we're home, I feel like we can just like without a plan, we just kind of eat whatever whenever. And so it's super helpful to just give yourself some sort of structure because then it frees up your brain and time to enjoy the rest of life. And then when hopefully things go back to real life soon, just kind of just sit down again with a fresh paper and start again. What do the morning routines look like now? What do the evening routines look like now? What are the, daycare school hours? Put those in. A big one I really recommend calendaring is commuting time. It sounds really strange, but we often don't factor that stuff in. And so then we don't have a realistic idea of how our day is going to run. So that is a big, big one that I would just use as a takeaway is like plot your commuting time to help out. All right. Are there any questions or else I can wrap up and let you guys get out of here?
Well, I just wanted to say one thing about
Yeah.
the scheduling. I think part of what this is really good for, just as it applies to sort of how I work with you guys, is finding the time too. Because so many people come to me saying, I don't have enough hours in the day. How can I even think to add in workouts, or where can I even try to find the time? And so a big part of what we do in the beginning is find that time, right? And so as you're kind of plotting out your day, you'll look and be like, you know what, here I do actually have about 5 minutes. Oh, and here I do have another 5 minutes. Maybe these are a place where I could stick, 1 or 2 minute circuit. And if I get that in 3 times, this like on Tuesday, because I have these 3 spots, I can really add something beneficial to my day. So as long as you kind of keep in mind that it's not just for you to actually follow, it's for you to kind of figure out like what am I actually doing with my days and where are those times that I could carve out. Maybe I have 5 minutes here, maybe I could carve out 20 and really get in a bigger workout. So it's also for a learning tool too, I think, for yourself.
I think that's such a good point is so often we're surprised at how much space we'd have in our calendar, but aren't aware of it. You just kind of stumble upon it because just even really sure how much time we have and we don't have a plan and we're like a little tired. So we just go for the easy default in things that will actually light us back up. The other thing I will say is you're working in an office and you're now home, working out mid. I practice, as I said, I practiced law for years. I was very working out at 5 for a long time. Entrepreneur, kept that up, but I realized like I actually like work early in the morning. My brain's fresh. It's going. The house is fit. It's great. Work in the afternoon. Work out at noon. Then myself a burst. Keep going. So just a little tip for those of you who are used to working at home and who find yourselves at home and work out in the afternoon. It's a real fun little treat. All right. Well, so that's really it. I do let you guys know if you really like this and feel like you want more, basically clients on figuring out exactly to time in their life, both in their personal business, really break down the tasks into just like get clear on what are the activities you're doing, what do you need to account for, help you build out, I call your realistically ideal week. And then we talk about how to handle those like more one-off things up. Also walk you through my main planning sessions because that's really where the magic happens. If you do all of this, it's so important that once a week at least you sit down and really like plot out the next 2 weeks to make sure that things are going to run smoothly. So that's how I work with clients for the most part. If you're interested, I have one-on-one work, I have group work, I have an online course. So feel free to reach out to me at Kelly, LLY, at kellynolan.com. And if not, I hope this was helpful for you. And like, I hope I can just run with it. And but please reach out with any questions. I am here to support you guys in this awesome journey Shannon is providing you with.